Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Daylenn Pua, who went hiking on the 26th of February in 2015 on the island of Oahu of Hawaii. He went to hike and he wanted to go up to a radio tower that was put there, I think, during World War II. And there's a really long staircase that leads up there, and it is actually off limits. Now, a lot of people assume when they talk about this case that he went for the off limits area to go up that staircase, which is kind of dangerous even though it has been repaired recently. Though when I went looking for more information, I found that actually there are sources that are saying that he went up to a different trail, Epmoanalua Valley, which is a legal trail, and he went up there and took a left turn, which is apparently more dangerous because it leads across a certain ridge where the wind and rain can really hit you very hard, and it's a pretty steep drop from either side of that in some places. They also mentioned that the man in the photo that people like to talk about, the last photo that he sent from his phone, has a person in a distance. And somebody managed to get a hold of this person, and it turned out to be a botany student from HBU. And they were just out there collecting plants, which they did more often. Now, that doesn't necessarily clear him from having done anything illegal, obviously, but perhaps his presence is now a little bit less mysterious. In any case, Daylenn told his grandma beforehand that he was going to go hike up that trail, and she told him not to do that because it was dangerous and he could get a fine, because that trail, that actual Stairway to Heaven as they call it, is guarded and has been off limits since 1987. But he decided to go anyway, and after that final photo was sent, there was no more contact with his phone. They tried calling and texting, but there was no response. I think it went directly to voicemail, if I heard that correctly. So the search for Daylenn started the day after, and unfortunately they found nothing. Sometime after the search, there were also a couple of hikers that went down a similar trail, and they actually heard somebody yelling, "Help me, I'm down here." There were about 5 hikers there, and most of them also called 911 upon hearing that scream because it was so bone-chilling that they heard that shrill shriek basically from down below where they were. That could have been him, but we really don't know. In any case, another search was conducted as a result of these 911 calls, which unfortunately also came up empty-handed. In any case, it's been 8 years now since he went hiking, and to my knowledge at this point, nothing has been found of him yet, and that is why we're going to use the tarot today to look at this case. And we're starting off with the Smith-Waite deck, which is currently already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Santa Muerte deck, which is this one. So, as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as we have enough cards on the table, we'll stop and take a look. So, let's get started. Okay, so the shuffle is pretty energetic. Immediately at the start, the deck pretty much exploded, and pretty quickly we had the 2 and the 3 of Wands coming out with a whole bunch of other cards just popping or flipping and all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of energy in this card selection right now. In any case, as I said, we're starting off with the 2 and the 3 of Wands, followed by the Knight of Cups. Now this seems to me like somebody who's really just looking to go on an adventure and not really considering much other input from other people. Knight of Cups tends to focus on his own thing mostly, and they were really looking to go out there, as I said, like they'd planned for this and then they went and set out to do it. without much care in the world, even though ahead there's a bit of a desert right there. Like it's looking like a long track over there at his feet. You can see the desert and then like a mountain range in the distance. And even though they do not appear to be packing anything, they are definitely determined to go there. Like I said, the Knight of Cups is pretty much focused on his own emotions, so I'm thinking that that was just his own focus, how he felt about the thing, and how he wanted to get it done. There was a little bit of internal struggle, as you can see here with the Five of Wands in reverse. We have the Seven of Cups also in reverse, and the Moon in reverse. Okay. So like I said, there's some internal struggle here. I may have been struggling with some other people perhaps as well. Maybe it's like an older thing that was coming up in his mind. In any case, we see a Seven of Pentacles in reverse, maybe ill-prepared, possibly wrongfully prepared. And the Moon is in reverse, which I would normally take as secrets being revealed, but it could also be that maybe he felt that there were no secrets and that he knew pretty much everything he needed to know, which kind of also points back to the stubbornness of those two first cards right there. So probably thinking that they were perfectly prepared and they were perfectly okay to go there. They also went by themselves, which according to some people that I saw commenting on this case is something you don't do, particularly in a hike where you are bound to end up in dangerous places, because the trail that he did end up going had some dangerous spots on it, and it's always good to have at least one other person there so you can be each other's backup. In any case, so he probably felt a little bit overly confident that everything was going to be fine and there were no secrets and he knew everything he needed to know. Probably incorrectly prepared though with this Seven of Pentacles in reverse. We'll probably see something about that later as well. We had a whole bunch of extra cards here on the end, but I'm going to start with this row right here. So these guys are going to have to move a little bit. We have the Ace of Swords, we have the Devil in reverse, and we have the Three of Pentacles. Okay. Ace of Swords is also in reverse, and that tells me that he had an idea that was probably not very good. Maybe, just like I said, ill-prepared with the Seven of Pentacles. This is another reflection of that. Just an idea that was not thought out very well. The Devil in reverse, though, it's like he is shedding some type of connection, maybe, because the devil can also be like something that you are attached to or that you feel trapped to. Maybe this expedition was meant to be just him by himself because he wanted to break free from something. We do see the Three of Pentacles over here, which is usually like a cooperation with somebody, and maybe he had a chat with somebody that whom he considered to be like an accomplice of sorts beforehand. Like maybe they talked about this and they came up with a plan or something, or he just went out online and asked about the trail and did a lot of research and perhaps felt like certain people that were there. There are two people looking at one person doing the work, so it may be like there were a couple of advisors that he trusted and that he used their input to go about his way, go about his task of hiking that trail. So I think that he thought that he knew everything, but I already said that with the first row. Like he thought he was well prepared and everything, and he was kind of maybe trying to be on his own, strike out on his own with this single trip on that hiking trail, even though it was advised against doing that. We see then the Fool and then the Chariots and the Ten of Cups. So I think this is him actually enjoying himself on this trail, just letting everything land where they may. I think I said Ten of Cups just now, but it's a Nine of Cups. In any case, the Fool is showing that he is feeling really good about himself. He's just going ahead and letting the universe guide him wherever it may lead. All three cards have this yellow background, so very sunny attitude. The Chariot is showing that things are going swimmingly, things are going really well, really moving ahead with his plan. And the Nine of Cups showing that he is actually in a great mood. So I'm thinking that initially when he started the trail, he was really in his elements and enjoying himself immensely, and probably also enjoying the freedom, because the Fool is really like going out there and feeling himself and all the energy around him and just having a great time right there, at least at this point. Then we have a bunch of extra cards at the bottom. It started off with these 2 swords cards. We have the 9 of swords, which is anxiety. We have the 4 of swords, which is taking a break, timeouts. The King of Wands came last actually, but we have that one too, also in reverse. And the Wheel of Fortune is also in reverse. Okay, so the first 2 sword cards show that something is anxiety provoking. So this is probably where the thing that went wrong actually went wrong. And it's like all the sunny attitude that used to be there only a few moments ago is suddenly gone because we're in the darkness over here and we're feeling pretty anxious about it. The 4 of Swords shows somebody, basically just a tomb, showing them taking a break. Normally this is just taking timeouts, but I'm thinking that as a follow-up to whatever went wrong, he actually took a moment to collect himself. Maybe collect his thoughts and maybe think like, okay, if I just take a moment to take a breather, I'm gonna be okay. I'm just gonna have to figure myself out there for a second. The King of Wands though is in reverse, so that kind of suggests that whatever it is that he decided to do after this break took place was perhaps not the right thing, or this could be him thinking maybe I shouldn't have been so gung-ho about things. And this wheel as well is in reverse, the Wheel of Fortune, so that is thing is turning for the worse quite literally. Perhaps as a result of this reverse King of Wands taking actions that were not supposed to be taken, like things that would have made things worse, or just realizing in this moment that things are definitely not what he expected, and this is a whole new world, whole new situation that he finds himself in that he was not prepared to deal with. So let's move on to the Santa Muerte, what happened next, because I think the accident or whatever it is that happened to him happened at this point right down here. So now we're with him, I guess, wherever he ended up on that day. What happens next? Okay. Have a little small stack here. Probably not all of them are relevant. That one. Oh, and those two, but they flew off over here. All right, let's see who we have here. This is the 4 of Swords again. Okay, so after he's finally realized the situation, we have more 4 of Swords energy. He is once again taking another break. Maybe didn't even have much of a choice because, of course, it's a really dangerous trail. Like I said in the introduction, there are these areas where there are ridges that you have to go over, and any gust of wind could be a problem. So maybe he ended up somewhere where he was injured in such a way that he could not move. In any case, you see a 2 of Pentacles here and the High Priestess. All right, so maybe considering his options, and possibly with the High Priestess also trying to get some type of intuition about certain things, trying to maybe look at the situation from a different light, because of course the High Priestess also gets like inspiration from beyond. Could be that he was looking at things from a very different perspective in that point. Maybe to keep himself calm, possibly also facing the consequences, possibly facing his own mortality, because the 2 of Pentacles in this particular deck kind of reminds me of how they used to have this practice in certain cultures that they would put 2 coins, like one on each eye of the deceased, for crossing the river Styx to pay the boatman, I guess. And the skeleton on the left does appear to either be handing the coins or perhaps removing the skeleton on the right from a grave or something along those lines. It kind of looks that way. So probably facing his own potential future as a result of this occurrence. And then the High Priestess might be them trying to figure out what's next, if you know what I mean. Like, where do I end up? Where does my soul go? What have I learned about the afterlife and that sort of thing, like trying to figure out, maybe even trying to communicate with the powers that be. Like this might be the pleading phase, if you know that whole the phases of grief, I think is what it's called. Let's see what else we can find. Okay, there's a small stack that landed on my arm. Which ones from here do we need? This one? Okay. Anything else? that was difficult to shuffle with just 3 cards. Okay, this one. Queen of Pentacles, alright, so we're being practical now. And we have the Devil is back. Okay, so we might even be pleading again for some type of rescue, perhaps. Trying to connect to something if that helps us get out of it. Literally, the Queen of Pentacles has a ladder, like trying to find somewhere to put the ladder to climb up. Queen of Pentacles is very practical, so it could be more pleading. Like I said, we're going through the phases of grief, perhaps, in this list of cards. Like first he was like trying to figure out if there is something out there, and then this kind of looks like a plea to whatever might be out there to try and get him out of this situation. Like, I'll do anything as long as you get me out of here. Like, I sign anything. I'll subscribe to any type of belief as long as it helps me survive this and get back home. That's kind of what this is looking like. What next? Okay. The Hermit in reverse. Alright, so Hermit is normally somebody who would retreat from the world. It could be that they're trying very hard, though, to be back into the world. This kind of reminds me about how they heard somebody yelling, "Help, I'm down here." He may have been trying to contact people by yelling, even though he probably didn't see anybody in his near vicinity. Like, any chance he may have gotten to make a connection to the outside world or the world beyond the little bubble that he found himself in, I think he tried to utilize. Oh, again, a small stack that fell out. Oh, that one is on the ground. I'll grab it in a moment. Anything from here? Those two. Okay. Let's grab the one on the floor first. Okay, so the floor says the sun came out for a moment. The wheel got pushed out of position. Whoop. And then we have the Two of Swords. Alright, being of two minds. Okay, so the sun came out, so perhaps he thought that there was a chance out there. Maybe this is the point where he sees or hears somebody. And the Two of Swords is usually being of two minds, trying to make up your mind about something. Maybe this is them thinking, maybe I can get up and try to get to them, or should I call? Should I don't know, try to start a fire somewhere, or something along the lines of try and get attention. But there is a brief moment of hope here, a light shining into his world. What next? Now, we did see that the Two of Swords pushed the Wheel of Fortune out of the way when it landed on the table, so perhaps that was kind of like a trying to change my luck. The moon is still in reverse though, so things are not quite clear. Although this could also point to him trying to reveal himself, because the moon tends to hide things, but he might be trying to get attention. This person is waving at something in the water, but perhaps they could be trying to grab somebody's attention. And in the water, we do see the skeletal version of the person over there. This kind of also may relate to seeing hope fleeting before your eyes, like trying to get attention, trying to get some help, but also having to realize that so far your attempts have not led you anywhere good, and they may end up not being saved after all, and that's why you're perhaps looking at this reflection of the skeletal person in the water. Okay, so nothing from the Santa Muerte deck at the moment, so let's go back to the Smith Waits. So I'm guessing we're not going to hear any more from the story then, since the other deck didn't want to share any more cards. How about if we're ever going to find him? Are we ever going to find anything of his? Are we going to reveal anything? The sun is up again with the Knight of Wands and the Ten of Swords. Okay, the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is darkest before the dawn, so maybe we will eventually see the sun rising, because we see here the sun next to the darkest before the dawn card. Could be if somebody were to go out there almost on a spur of the moment type of expedition, because the Knight of Wands is fairly gung-ho. They might just happen upon something that will lead to his discovery. Perhaps they'll happen upon Daylenn himself. Like, this seems almost like somebody has given up hope, or certain people have given up hope, and then suddenly somebody wanders into an area and goes, hey, that looks like something interesting, let's go find out what that is. And then they end up stumbling upon perhaps some remains, or perhaps just something that used to belong to him, like maybe he had a backpack or a phone. Well, he had a phone for sure, but... And then we have the Three of Cups in reverse. Okay, so that is kind of like a loss of harmony, perhaps also emotions. Negative emotions. Could be that this is the shock for the family. Ultimately, like, even if family members may have already kind of resigned themselves to the idea of he's never coming back, suddenly being told like, hey, we found remains which we think are his, is probably going to tear open some wounds as well. So I'm thinking that this might be the moment where they have to be informed that they have actually found somebody, and they are suspecting that it's him. Let's see what else we can find. Oh, there's one card that fell just off screen. Two of Swords. Okay, so this might be the person actually themselves wondering if they should mention it at all. They may have... this might actually be them wondering if it's a good idea to go ahead and tear those wounds open again. Could be that they stumble across the remains, because I'm pretty sure this happens every once in a while. Somebody's walking around the forest, they find something, and they're like, okay, no, I don't really want to get involved in this, kind of like that. So maybe this person will have a moment of doubt, like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Let them know. But since we are seeing this in their reading, when I asked if we're going to find him, I think that eventually they will choose to make it known and do the right thing. As scary as that might be. Oops, there's a whole stack over here. Not going to read 20 cards. Alright, let's go see if we can find anything else. Okay, oh, this is a card that's not actually got a name. Interesting that we should get that one as the final card, though. Because here we see a bunch of spirits that are looking at a person that I'm thinking is, in this card, supposed to be sleeping. But the first thing that came to mind when I saw this was rather spirits are helping guide whomever this is over to where the remains are to finally solve this case. So this Knight of Wands might be somebody whom is also kind of intuitively wandering around, possibly spur of the moment again, just like Daylenn himself, and just happens upon something, has a moment of doubt, and then probably ultimately will decide to let somebody know, at the very least call 911, so that they can come and check out the remains and then draw their conclusions accordingly. So that's what I'm seeing for Daylenn Pua. I hope you found that interesting. If you have any readings that you'd like me to do, make sure to check out the description. There's a link in there to a Google form that you can fill out. It's completely anonymous, and then it'll end up on the list. If you'd like to leave a like, a comment, or a subscribe, all those things are really well appreciated because it helps the channel along. In any case, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in another video, and bye-bye for now.